right, so here's another video for the vocal session for Melodyne. This, again, like I said in class, is just what's called a scratch vocal, which means this was not intended to be saved or used. Really, this was typically a scratch vocal is just for reference for like the band as you're playing along, just to have the vocal there, either while they're recording or for the singer, just to reference whatever they want, whether it's they're trying something new or they just want an idea of what it's going to sound like when it all comes together. So this is not a good take, which is why I put this vocal in, because there will definitely be more. You'll see more of a difference in the tuning on this version than the other version. Now, with that said, the performance itself is not great. So you'll see more of a change in the tuning, but it's still not a good take overall. So just giving you a warning there. Now I'm going to come up here to this window and show my inserts A through E so that I don't have to switch back to my mix window to assign the plugin. And I'm going to put, you can either go Other, Melodyne, or the company name is Ceremony, and then Melodyne, whatever is more convenient for you. And here's our Melodyne window with nothing in it. And I'm going to take, let's see what we got. Okay, so this right here is the first verse. I'm just going to take that much, and I'm going to hit Transfer, and then hit Play in Pro Tools. Right. So there's our first verse. And yep, that's okay. That's everything. I'm going to zoom out a little. So in your main tool, you have the options of either the scroll, which will allow you to move around in your timeline, or the zoom tool, which if you click and if you hold down the what's the left click on here and go up and down, it'll zoom this way. Left to right will zoom this way. And obviously you can scroll down here. This, if you go to the edge of this scroll bar, it'll turn into a zoom tool. There's a lot of ways to adjust what you're seeing and how to zoom in and out in Melodyne, so that's really convenient. The same thing over here. Obviously the jog wheel on the trackball does the same thing, up and down. Just scroll on the trackball itself, and if you hold Shift, it'll go left and right. And that's the same with just about any whatever window you're in as far as scrolling goes. Just to show you, if I close Melodyne, here's our edit window. If I zoom in, well, scroll up and down, or I could hold Shift and scroll left and right. Anyway, not that that's super important, but oops, get Melodyne back up. All right, so let's take a listen to what we got. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. Now again, one thing we can do just for starters is with our main tool, we can highlight whatever section, however much we want. Go to our main tuning tool, double click, and it'll snap everything right into the middle of the note that Melodyne thinks was intended, whatever it's closest to, right? And once we've done that, if we wanted to, if we needed to, we could move everything up or down. You can always undo, which again, Apple Z. Now, if you wanted to raise or lower one of these without going to the next note, right? Without having to be constrained to this grid, you'd want to uncheck this treble clef up here. So when you click that and the highlight goes away, you can now move it in smaller increments if you want to or need to, right? And I'm just gonna undo all of that. Actually, rather than undo all that, I want to go back to the original, right? So I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to right click and go restore original pitch, undo all pitch changes. Boom. Now we're back to where we started. But let's go ahead and do the double click just to get things going. Take a listen. Okay, so better already. Now, I'm not a fan of that way downward swell before it comes back up. Could you lie? I want to get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is go to my main tool, and I'm going to break this blob right here. Oops. There you go. There we go. It's got to be that cursor icon. I'm going to break that up. Go back to my tuning tool. So that's where Melodyne thinks it should be, and that's kind of what it sounds like. He went way down and then back up. So let's take a listen. Now, I'm still not a fan of it. I don't like how far down he went. I kind of want this to be the same note. Could you lie? Right, and excuse my singing. But, so I'm gonna bring this back up. I'm gonna turn the, let me undo that. I'm gonna turn the grid back on so that this snaps right into the middle of that B flat. And now, I think I'm gonna even further break this apart because we've got these two big swells here, and I have a feeling that it'll be easier to smooth this out if I break this even more. And so now I'm going to go pitch tool, double click on these, and now you see, now that I broke that up in the smaller chunks, Melodyne's like, yeah, it probably was supposed to be a B flat. But when we made that first cut, it was all closer to this A. But now it sees, now that we broke it up more, it sees like, yeah, it probably was supposed to be a B flat. And so now that we've done that, we can go to our pitch modulation, and let's smooth some of these out. Now, again, I won't know if I'm making this better or worse till I take a listen. So let's go ahead and do that. Woo! Much better. Yeah, way better. Now all this messiness up here, I'm not super concerned about it because a lot of that's just the pop from the mic. But that adjustment we just made, I think, sounds way, way better. I don't really like that either. He went, oh, there at. So I'm going to move this probably I'm going to see what happens if I move this all the way up to that D flat where the actual, whoops, I'm going to undo that because I'm still in my modulation tool. Go back to pitch. I'm going to bring this way up here and see what happens. Oh, not good. Not good. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Well, let's see if we can at least smooth it out a little. First, again, I'm gonna just split this up a little so we have a little more control over it. Go back to my main tuning tool, double click. Okay. I might try to, might see if we can smooth this swell up a little. Don't know if that's going to help. Not bad. I don't think it made it worse anyway. Now I'm going to go to the modulation and smooth some of this out. And I'm going to try to smooth this out too. Modulation there. And the last thing I'm going to do before I listen is I'm going to also put a little slower of a swell going up to there. Now I'm going to listen. And again, just double click in the timeline and it'll play what is in the Melodyne plugin only. So I don't have to solo it over here in my Pro Tools session. If you just double click, I think that's better. At least this portion of it anyway, right? So let's go ahead and move on. Take a listen. Okay, so the notes aren't terrible. I just don't like how much up and down he's doing. So I'm going to just try and smooth some of that out. Probably going to start, well, let's just start from where we are. I'm going to go to modulation. And I'm going to just start smoothing stuff out. And I'm going to go back to our main pitch tool. I'm also going to zoom in a little. Zoom in both ways. Let's just see this a little better. Okay. So now I'm back to my main pitch tool, and I've got these orange, I don't know what Melodyne calls them, if there's a term for it, but just transition lines, I guess. And I'm going to smooth some of these out too. Just so it's a little steeper of a ramp up into the note and doesn't sound, the idea is, what I'm trying to do anyway, is to make it not sound like he's really jumping pitch so much. You know, I want it a little smoother. So what I'm hoping is that by doing this, I will get exactly that effect out of it. And I might try to modulate this a little, just smooth that out a little more. Not really sure if that's going to be better or worse. Let's take a listen. Okay, not awful. I'm going to back it up even more and just listen to a little more of it. Okay. I think up to this point, we're pretty good. Now, again, this is just me doing a little extra, which, I mean, if you're tuning vocals, you know, it's kind of like, you know, instead of doing it half-assed, just go all the way with it. So I'm going to split this up at least a couple rounds here. Double click again in our main pitch tool to get that right on. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to the modulation and just smooth some of this out. And just because, I'm going to go back to our main pitch tool and tighten. Yeah. I don't know. Whoops. Undo. All right, let's take a listen to that. Not too shabby. So, I'm going to zoom out a little more. Let's hear everything we've done so far. Not too bad. Let's hear it in context with the song. Not too bad. I am pretty pleased with that. So at this point, I would, if I was going to tune the whole vocal, I would go ahead and move on to the next phrase, and so on and so forth. So obviously, this is, to me, I think this stuff is kind of fun because it just gives you something to really dive into and what am I trying to say? It's not so much creative work. It's really, it can be a little tedious, honestly, but I don't know. I think this stuff is kind of fun because it really shows you how much power you have to make something sound better. And as an audio engineer, that is the total name of the game, is you're trying to make something sound as good as you can. So I like this stuff. I hope you find it interesting, and I hope this video was helpful. And that'll be it for now. Any questions, let me know. As always,